Last week, we talked about the difference between wanting to write a book and deciding to finish one. Today, I want to talk about something just as important: why most writing programs don't work for serious authors. And before you assume I'm talking about lack of discipline or commitment, let me say this clearly. Most people don't fail because they aren't serious. They fail because the structure they're in doesn't support follow through. Welcome to The Seasoned Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to helping entrepreneurs over 50 build and scale businesses with confidence in today's digital world. I'm your host, Vanessa Collins. And if you're ready to turn your experience and passion into profit, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into strategies, insights, and expert interviews focused on digital marketing, messaging, and automation. Because building a business over 50 isn't just about making money, it's about impact, legacy, and proving it's never too late to thrive. Let's get started. A lot of writing programs are marketed with flexibility as the main benefit. Go at your own pace, work when you can, no pressure. And on the surface, that sounds compassionate, especially at this stage of life. Most seasoned entrepreneurs aren't just managing a business, they're managing family responsibilities, health changes, caregiving, transitions, and demands that didn't exist earlier in life. So when life happens, flexibility feels like a relief. But here's the part we don't talk about enough. When everything is flexible, the writing almost always becomes the thing that moves. A client needs something, a family situation comes up, the day runs longer than expected. And because the writing is flexible, it quietly gets pushed to the back burner. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it feels less urgent than everyone else's needs. Over time, flexibility without structure creates drift. When deadlines are optional, progress becomes inconsistent. When expectations are unclear, motivation has to do all the heavy lifting. When everything is negotiable, writing turns into something you keep meaning to get back to. What ends up happening is this: your responsibilities are honored, but your dreams are deferred. You keep telling yourself, I'll get to it when things slow down. It's just a busy season. I'll focus on the book later. But for most people, later never comes on its own. Serious authors eventually realize they don't need more freedom, they need fewer decisions. Structure isn't about ignoring life or being rigid, it's about protecting the work so it doesn't disappear every time life asks something of you. That's why flexibility alone doesn't finish books, structure does. Let's talk honestly about motivation for a moment. Most seasoned entrepreneurs already know this from experience. Motivation is helpful, but it's unreliable. You didn't build your career, business, or ministry on motivation alone. You built it on habits, systems, and standards that carried you forward even on days you didn't feel inspired. Writing a book works the same way. Motivation might get you excited in the beginning. It might even get you through the first few chapters. But motivation fades the moment life gets busy. when the writing feels harder than expected, or when doubt creeps in. That's not a character flaw, that's human. If motivation were enough, most people listening to this would already have a finished manuscript sitting on their desk. You probably would have 10 finished manuscripts sitting on your desk. But what usually is missing is not desire. It's a structure that supports consistent execution. A structure that answers questions like, when does the writing happen? What does progress look like each week? What happens when life interrupts the plan? Without structure, motivation ends up doing work it was never meant to do. Serious authors understand this. They don't rely on how they feel. They rely on what they've decided. Now, this is where a lot of writing programs miss the mark. They promise accountability, but they don't provide leadership. Accountability often looks like reminders, group check ins, or a space to report progress. And while those things can be helpful, they are not enough on their own. Reminders don't create momentum. Check ins don't remove confusion, and community doesn't automatically equal completion. What actually helps serious authors move forward is leadership paired with structure. Leadership sets clear expectations. Leadership defines milestones and standards. Leadership removes decision fatigue by making the path obvious. For seasoned entrepreneurs, especially, this matters. At this stage of life and business, you don't need to waste energy figuring out what to do next. You want to know that the structure you're in was designed to help you finish. That's the difference between feeling busy and making progress. Accountability says, did you do the work? Leadership says, here's how the work gets done, and here's how we'll support you when it gets hard. Serious authors don't need cheerleaders. They need a container that protects progress and keeps the work moving forward. Now, one of the biggest mindset shifts for seasoned entrepreneurs is realizing that structure is not restrictive. Structure is supportive. It protects your time, it honors your experience, and it keeps the work from being crowded out by everything else. Structure says, this matters enough to plan for. This deserves consistency. This is not optional anymore. That's not pressure, that's leadership. Serious authors eventually reach a point where convenience stops working. They start valuing standards over flexibility, not because they want pressure, but because they want progress. Standards create clarity. Standards remove decision fatigue. Standards protect the work when life gets busy. And this is an important distinction. Structure isn't for everyone. Some people prefer freedom, others prefer results. Serious authors choose structure because they understand something simple. If the work matters, it deserves protection. This is not about discipline, this is about leadership. If you've been part of writing programs before and wondered why you didn't make the progress you expected, it's worth asking a different question. Not what's wrong with me, but was the structure designed to support completion? On The Seasoned Entrepreneur, we're continuing the conversation about what it really takes to finish meaningful work in this season of life and business. Not hustle, not pressure, but clear decisions, strong structure, and intentional follow through. Now, if this episode resonated, stay close. The right program makes all the difference. Now, I would love to hear from you on this. Go to theseasonedentrepreneur.com/21 and leave your comments on the show notes. Now, I've also started playing around on Substack. You can find me there at theseasonedentrepreneur.com/Substack. That's it for today's episode of The Seasoned Entrepreneur. I hope you found value in our conversation and are feeling inspired to take action in your business journey. Remember, it's never too late to master digital marketing, refine your messaging, or implement automation that saves you time and boosts your bottom line. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple of things. First, subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you really found this helpful, please leave a review. Your feedback helps other entrepreneurs over 50 discover the show. Also, don't forget to share this episode with someone you know who's on their entrepreneurial journey. We're building a community of seasoned entrepreneurs, and together we're proving that age is just experience and experience is powerful. For show notes and links mentioned in today's episode, head over to theseasonedentrepreneur.com. Again, that is theseasonedentrepreneur.com. You can also connect with me on Instagram at VanCollins1, and that's the number 1, to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in. Keep pushing forward, keep building, and remember, your best season of entrepreneurship is just getting started. I'll see you next time on The Seasoned Entrepreneur.